Did you know that your seating position matters if you want to get faster or race for a long period of time? So today I'm going to let you know how to best position your sim rig to get those extra seconds off a lap.
Yes, we're going to do it! It's the P1!
To give you some context, I'm a top split sim racer in Gran Turismo 7. I've raced for charity for 8 hours straight in the rig, and I've done regular multiple hour endurance races not in sim racing but karting as well. For me, a lot of it is about comfort. I also race for real, which is very uncomfortable sometimes. In sim racing, I want to be comfortable, so I'm going to show you what I'm doing with the ergonomics and the equipment I'm choosing, because your seat setup and your rig really can make the difference. I'm going to start with arguably, well, one of the most important points about comfort and position in your sim racing setup, which is your distance from the wheel, and that applies whatever kind of seat you're in, whether you're in an adjustable seat or a bucket seat. So a good test is if you put your hands on top of your wheel, and all wheels are different, does it comfortably sort of hang your wrist down? You're not having to stretch, and not too high or too low. And then also when you're actually on the wheel, when you're in, if you've got a GT wheel just holding the rim like this, you should actually be kind of close to your body like this. What you don't want to do is be like this, where you're hanging. That will cause you to lose precision as you go into these parts of the rotation. And also it can cause fatigue. Like I said, I did 8 hours sim racing in a row for charity and actually wasn't fatigued at the end because of the position. So what I like to do is get my wheel angle sort of like this, sort of like, might look a bit weird, but if you look at GT racers, do the same thing. Same thing when I drove a Ferrari 488 GT3, and that means I've got really nice precision through the wheel here. You can see. You don't want it too bent. That's going to be too much, and I see that sometimes. But you definitely don't want it too elongated. It's going to help you to absorb shocks as well. So in the force feedback, this is a really good position for your arms to sort of absorb those shocks and be able to adjust, be able to catch, counter steer, which is super important. You could do certain things on some rigs as well, like adjust the seat angle up or down. Can't do that on this one. This is straight. You can also do things like have lumbar support. I feel pretty well supported here in this GT Mega seat, but you can see this is a example lumbar support that you can insert behind you if you want to make sure that you've got your lower back supported, which is really important when it comes to braking, which we're going to get onto in this video. But starting with the steering wheel position, if you're not sure if what you're doing is right, take a look at what I'm doing. And you can see here, no matter where I am on the braking or the throttle, I've got a really nice angle here. By the way, this video is sponsored by GT Mega, who provided me with this GT Mega bucket seat. Your seat is a great basic point to start with your most comfortable seating position. You can check out GT Mega's website and use code Kireth5 at checkout to get an extra 5% off everything GT Mega offers, which is amazing. Thanks a lot, GT Mega. So one thing you can't do in the bucket seat, but you can do in like an RS6 or the other GT Mega seats, for example, is actually adjust the angle it comes forward and back. So you can do that, and then you put it back down and it locks it, and you can have a bit more of a firm position. I like to actually have a relaxed position with the seat, arguably a bit too relaxed. But you can see what a difference that makes when I'm braking and sort of what's happening with my shoulder blades. But just to bear in mind, you can't do that with the bucket seat. If you want to adjust it like that, you have to do it with one of these. Now, pedal setup can be highly personal, but I want to give you some sort of rules or guidelines to work around. The first thing is you absolutely don't want to be hitting your wheel when you're off the brake. So when I'm on the brake, you can see my leg is a little bit straighter. When I'm off the brake, my knee comes up a little bit. And what you don't want is to be hitting your knee. So what I've got right now is absolutely perfect for me. You can see that my hand is not hitting my knee. Now, I've driven on rigs where you end up like this and you end up having to hit your knee, and it's really off-putting. So use that as a guideline. You also don't want to have your foot angled too far back or too far forward. You want that sort of Goldilocks zone where you're able to actually really break through your hip, ideally. That's the final thing you should be working on, sort of braking using the strong muscles in your leg and even your back, sort of like really brake and use the throttle. Well, throttle's not important, but mainly the brake. You can see here, look at the way that the seat gives me the absolute resistance. So this is a GT Mega bucket seat. I did tell you, I think I told you about a discount code, Kireth5 at gtmega.com. Look up their bucket seats. You can just see here, absolutely no flex compared to, say, an adjustable seat is going to have more flex. There we go. So this for me is quite a nice seating position. If I was going to modify it even slightly more, I might try and come forward a little bit on my new bucket seat here. And just want to check I've still got that clearance, which I do. So I've still got the clearance. I'm still feeling pretty good. And arguably now, it's a bit easier for me to get on that brake, you can see. So a little bit of personal preference there. Depends how elastic you are in your ankles as well sometimes. You can sort of play around with a little sweet spot. Sometimes as well, you in a bit more relaxed position or a bit upright position. You can see here I've got a pedal plate that allows me to adjust the angle of the pedals as well, which is really important. And I've also adjusted the face plates of the pedals, so they're facing in the right direction. You might see the clutch here. I haven't actually adjusted because I don't really use it, and see what an awkward position that would be for my ankles to actually use. But the brake and throttle I've got really nicely, so make sure you look after your pedals. Wheel choice is so important as well, massively underrated. Don't just go for the coolest looking rim. I've got the Moser Vision GS wheel here, undoubtedly the coolest looking wheel probably in the world, but it's not going to be right for every occasion. I've just been time trialing, and what I want is a GT3 wheel with my thumbs in the grips like this, really gripping really nicely. However, if I'm doing something else, I might want a circular rim, I might want something with Alcantara. Different sim racing wheel manufacturers now come with their own ecosystems with different rims, but you can always try and modify stuff yourself. So I've modified this rim from Asher McLaren Artura to work on the Moser. However, if you want to have a circular rim, if you want to go trucking or something, you can use a circular rim. Bear in mind the ergonomics are going to be different. Ideally, you'd actually want this truck wheel angled a little bit forward. You'd also want to make sure that when you brake, your knees are not going to touch the wheel itself. So think about rim choice. Increasingly, manufacturers are offering hubs and rims on those hubs, which is a little bit of a cheaper solution. So for example, Moser's cheapest wheel, I think the Moser ES wheel, comes with some very cheap modifications to make it bigger, to make it GT. Logitech now doing the same thing. Various discount links in the description for that. But make sure you choose the right rim for what you're doing. Now, I know a lot of us like to play around with shifters and handbrakes and other things. Really important you mount these properly. I don't really use a shifter or a handbrake that much. You can see here I've got a shifter here, which for me is quite a nice place to actually use it and go down the gears. I've seen some people mount these way too high or way too low. Honestly, just try and mount it in the best way you can, even if it means modifying it. I've mounted this in kind of a weird way, but it's absolutely solid and it means I can use it. Also, my microphone, if you're using a microphone to chat or maybe record content, make sure it's not going to interfere with your arms. Absolutely critical. You can see here, no interference. It might look like it's very close to me, but you can see that I'm never going to hit it basically, and it's quite close to my mouth, which is great. So when you're thinking about the additional equipment, don't just do it last minute. I've really tried to do all sorts of stuff on this rig, and I try and keep it when I actually get that right position. So there we go. There's some principles to get your sim rig set up more comfortable, and it will make you faster as well, and it'll be more just pleasurable. You have more fun in it.